sensation because it's the strongest word we have for feeling directly. When you put your hand on the corner of the table, you have a very definite feeling. And when you are aware of existing, you also have a definite feeling. But in the view of these methods or disciplines, the ordinary person's definite feeling of the way he exists and who he is a hallucination. To feel yourself as a separate ego, a source of action and awareness that is entirely separate and independent from the rest of the world, somehow locked up inside a bag of skin, is seen as a hallucination. But you are not a stranger to the earth that comes into this world either as a result of a natural fluke or being a sort of spirit that comes from somewhere else altogether. But that you, in your fundamental existence, you are the total energy that constitutes this universe.
And this procession confounded devout, wasting my days away laying around, bearing the weight as I make my way out. Fuck, I just want to be down in the ground, bed depressed on my life and enmeshed in the mind. From the day that you rise to the day that you die, everything in your sight is inside of the mind. Depths to the heights can attest to the vibe. Cling to the faith, what is lost can be found. Making my way through the swell of the crowd, lost in the waves, levitate when I'm downed. Evaporate, rising up to the clouds. Roam to them home on the ride when I'm late. Leave all that hold so I fit through the gate. Broken alone, growing old in the south. Caught in a roll, roll around and around. Drop what I found when I pass from the day. Take to the sky when I'm losing the way. Spitting the spells that I wrote from my mouth. Follow the grain, found the way of the Tao. Finding my place as I'm falling to fade. Watching this scene like a show on the stage. Nothing to move, all this always in place. Nothing to move, all this always in place.
Playing that it's you. Playing that it's this particular organism. And even playing that it's this particular person. Because the fundamental game of the world is a game of hide and seek. That is to say, that the colossal reality, the energy that is everything, that is a unitary energy, that is one, plays at being many, at manifesting itself in all these particulars that we call you and 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 this and that and all around us. And it's fundamentally a game. Every manifestation of life is impermanent.
5 years I've been burning 9,000 for a fall from the fire where I'm riding, sick of the silence so I roll. Give me a reason to keep going, then we come out of the cold. Rather than down my soul, the embers into the on my fucking bones. Lonely ghosts of vision, secret broken boat I found the soul. Let me see if I can bring it rise to the sky, fall to the floor. Hive mind, keep on climbing, making ways to reach the world. Saying hi, gave them trying to still go and give them more.
Our quest to make things permanent is an impossible problem.
5 years I've been burning 9,000 for a fall to the fire where I'm riding, sick of the silence so I roll. Give me a reason to keep going, then you come out of the cold. Rather than donuts, slowly gambling, something to warm my fucking bones. Lonely ghosts, I reach the secret over, built I found the soul. Let me see if I can bring it rise to the sky, fall to the floor. Hive mind, keep on climbing, making waves to reach the world. Say hi, gave them try and still go and give them more.
Therefore, we experience this sense of fundamental pain and frustration as a result of trying to make things permanent. There is in you no real ego. Now, I've explained that already. I've explained that the idea of the ego is a social institution. It has no physical reality.
Long time withdraw, felt my fit of regret. Pray for the dawn while evading the test. Still gaining strength, need to be for my death. Ready or not on the road to the end. Came from the bang, it's my fate to pretend. Sway with the grain, I can't help but to bend. Attract and escape, we attack and defend. Loving the rage of the game of the head. Went on my way, but I missed when I did. Gone out for days, I'll be back in a bit. Walk to my grave every step that I take. Winding my way as I try not to slip. Wander
of yourself. Just as the word water is a noise which symbolizes a certain liquid reality, so the idea of the ego, the role you play, who you are, is not the same as your living organism. Your ego has absolutely nothing to do with the way you color your eyes, shape your body, circulate your blood. That's the real you. But it's certainly not your ego, because you don't even know how it's done from the standpoint of your conscious attention. So the idea is firstly that the ego is unreal. There isn't one. Now then, this then is the first truth. There is this situation that we have dukkha or frustration because we are fighting the changingness of things and because we don't realize that the ego, the I, is unreal.
Biding my time, I've been riding the lines, ready to quicken me out of the cold. Hiding my life sucked away in the night, begging to be waking up to the world. Then at the living, I'm leaving behind all the maze of the mind to return to the soul. For when I'm finished and fall to the fight, moving on greater heights when I'm gone, let me go. Spark from the flame, I ascend from the fire. One with the heart, I depart from the whole. Somewhere between my disdain and desire, pendulum swings, we revolve in our road. Watch me diminish right before your eyes, tied in for flow when I'm caught in the pull. Lost in the waste to the end of my life, acting my part while I'm watching the show.
When a mother is so afraid that her children may get into trouble that she protects them excessively, and as a result of this prevents them from growing. Or when lovers cling to each other excessively and have to sign documents that they will curse and swear to love each other always. This is the same thing as holding on to yourself so tightly that you strangle yourself. Clinging is what makes suffering. If you don't recognize that this whole world is a phantasmagoria, an amazing illusion, a weaving of smoke, and you try to hold on to it, you see, then you start suffering, seriously suffering. I explained how we ignore all kinds of things because we notice only what we think noteworthy, and therefore our vision of everything is highly selective. We pick out certain things and say that's what's there, just as we select and notice the figure rather than the background.
Something's broken, I can feel it in my bones. We're on the brink, where we're going, never know without the guts to take the thing. See then hopeless, understand that everything's in greater hands. Understand that what you sow in every act is what you reap. Bigger picture of the show, so relax and watch the scene. Taking out inside your mind, behind the eyes where lights receive. Passing phones to lend a shoulder when we need a place to think. Everything that we all seek was always right beneath our nose. Keep nothing to hold when we finally take our leave. Turning lead to purest gold, attempt to sow the harmony. Bounded by the flesh, but see it trend or break it free. Settle with myself and know I'm growing steadily. Something's broken, I can feel it in my bones. We're on the brink, where we're going, never know without the guts to take the leap. Seething hopeless, understand that everything's in greater hands. Understand that what you sow in every act is what you reap.
Because they ignore the background. Just as one thinks that you can have pleasure without pain. You want pleasure the figure, and don't realize that pain is the background. So this state of restricted consciousness, restricted attention that moves through life unaware of the fact that to be implies not to be, and vice versa.
Don't wanna think this happens to be leaping off of the brink. Never think of what's next, record play, don't repeat, need to break free and breathe. Know that life's not a test, invest time into leaving the fray, ride the breeze. Out the door, find the thief, got to say, let me speak all the hell that I've seen. In the brain, made the scene, pulled down from outer space, stayed a strange in the box, levitate from the meat, tried to fly off the rock, always right beneath my feet, nothing left, still a lot left to breathe, for my piece is complete, spill my thoughts, perfect place, feel relief, another song to the waves, chain the beast, satiated the peace, give my all when the for sleep. Another song to the waves, turn the beat, satiated the peace, get my all out the way. Another prayer for sleep, black and white turn to grey, the rage fade away, empty slave like a screen. Everything that we know swallowed into the deep. Stay away, then feeling vacant, fade to grey, we're passing days. Empty heart, no always calling, feel nobody hears me pray. Something more than hits the ear, I want the void and all it holds. Carry that inside my soul and watch it turning into gold. Lost myself, now I'm forgotten, mostly nothing growing old. See life as a show of life that I can try beside my skull. Waterfall and let me go, let me rise to wings and heights, passing on to greater goals, elevated from my plight.
Now, in breathing, you know that breath is life. The Greek word is the same as spirit, and spirit means breath. In the book of Genesis, when God had made the clay figurine that was later to be Adam, he breathed the breath of life into its nostrils, and it became alive, because life is breath. But now, if you hold your breath, you lose it. He that would save his life will lose it. So breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, get as much air as you can, and cling, and you lose it. So breathe out. Whew, what a relief that was. The sigh of relief. Let it go, because it'll come back to you if you let it go. And I re-emphasize the point. Not saying this is what you ought to do. I'm simply pointing out a state of affairs that is so. There's no moralism in this whatsoever. It's simply pointing out, like, if you put your hand into the fire, you'll get burned. You can get burned if you want to. It's okay. But if you don't want to get burned, you don't put your hand in the fire.
Further along and on my body moving on, still look behind me, lessons adding up to now. Spiral round like Fibonacci, run my head into the ground. Heading out, I found my calling, nothing puts my passion out. Know it's coming, starting. I've been riding, I've been watching, catch me climbing, hear me clawing, looking for a better way. Found I'm rising into life before degrading down again. I'll make the most of all the life that I've been giving in my day. Let me just simulate and rise, giving shape to all inside. I'll embrace the coming night, see the dark is closing in. Never know when all will end. Curtains closing on the show, pulled out by the undertow. Make or break, you better bend it till I'm carried by the pole. Overloaded, feel something is taking hold. Never know, just trust the road and only hope would be the song. Anyway we place a step, we're headed steady back to home. When we take a final breath and enter all outside the form. Energy that never ends, a place where every shape is born. Space outside the cold and clay. Nothing left when going out but to go back from where you came. Evaporate into the cloud, drop of rain onto the waves, return again and cycle round.
So in the same way, if you don't want to be in a state of anxiety all the time, and again I emphasize, if you like to be anxious, it's perfectly alright. You've got all eternity through which to live in various forms. And therefore you don't have just one life in which you've got to avoid eternal damnation. You can go running around the wheel of the rat race and play that game just as long as you want to, so long as you think it's fun. But if there comes a time when you don't think it's fun, you don't have to do it.
Stuck in the tracks, I'll digress for a second. Empty my vessel, I'm still second guessing. Left to myself, I'm right back where I started. Called to the clouds for the dearly departed. Guiding my path as I scratch on the ground. Finding my way, headed over and down. Wander around all the rooms of the house. Sick of this state, need to break out the bounds. Dropping the way, wish me well on my way. Hate all the ways I would fall wearing down. Losing the days, need the trees, where are they? Fading to grey, getting lost in the sound. Follow my heart as I fall to my fate. Hold to the faith, better things come around. Counting the cost and I throw it away. Came to release all I made to resound. Follow my heart as I fall to my fate. Hold to the faith, better things come around. Counting the cost and I throw it away. Came to release all I made to resound.
So I wouldn't say to anyone who disagrees with me and who says, well, I think we ought to engage the forces of evil in battle and put this world to right and so on and so forth and arrange everything in this world so that it's all up. Try it, please. It's perfectly okay. Go on doing that. But if you see that it's futile, then you can let go. Don't try to cling. Relax. Recollection. Now, do you understand? The word recollect is to gather together what has been scattered. What is the opposite of remember? Obviously, dismember. What has been chopped up and scattered becomes remembered. So in the Christian scheme, do this in remembrance of me. Do you see? The Christ has been sacrificed, chopped up. But the Mass is celebrated in remembrance. One of the old liturgies says the wheat which has been scattered all over the hills and grows up is gathered again into the bread.
Thank you for the struggle, it's the pain that gave me strength. Thanks for offering resistance every step along the way. With every breath I prove myself to be just greater than the weight inside my chest. To rise against, attempt my best until the grave. Nothing left for me to say, nevertheless I am compelled to spit the spell out on the page. Send a seven in the swell, wash away out on the waves. Reach the perfect time and space, flip the thing into the masses, walking out into the rain. Nothing left for me to say, nevertheless I am compelled to spit the spell out on the page. Send a seven in the swell, wash away out on the waves. Reach the perfect time and space, flip a thing into the masses, walking out into the rain. Thank you for the struggle, it's the pain that gave me strength. Thanks for offering resistance every step along the way. With every breath I prove myself to be just greater than the weight inside my chest. To rise against, attempt my best into the grave.
Remember, go back to your basis. The world is regarded as the dismemberment of the self, the Godhead. The one is dismembered into the many. So remembrance is realizing again that each single member of the many is really the one. So that's recollection. You can think of it too in another way, and it's really the same way if you think it through. I'm going to leave you with a few puzzles so that you can think them through, and I won't explain them. But another way is to be recollected, is to be completely here and now. Are you here and now? Are you really here?
See the water flow, watch the river run. Never stops or slows, go on. Reaching up above, look out down below. Center when I'm dove, let go. Split up from the one, play to make a show. Springing from the world, Encore. Try to find a way, headed back to home. See the light of day, unfold. Leaving the night for the light of the day. Heart of the flame, I'm a spark, set the light. Never alone, I'm a one in the end. Don't be afraid, everything is alright. Pause for a break, taking time to reroute. Lost in the sound, let it take me away. Deep in the shade, let that wear like a shroud. Down for the count, watch the world turning grey.
There was a wise old boy who used to give lectures on these things, and he would get up and not say a word. He would just look at the audience. He'd examine every person individually. They'd all start feeling uncomfortable. He wouldn't say anything. He'd look at them all. Then he'd suddenly say, "Wake up! You're all asleep. And if you don't wake up, I won't give you any lecture." Are you here, recollected? See, most people aren't. They're bothering about yesterday and wondering what they're going to do tomorrow, and aren't all here. That's the definition of sanity, to be all there. So to be recollected is to be completely alert, available for the present, because that's the only place that you are ever going to be in. Yesterday doesn't exist, tomorrow never comes. There is only today. A great Sanskrit sort of invocation says, "Look to this day, for it is life. In its brief course lie all the realities of our existence. Yesterday is but a memory. Tomorrow is only a vision. Look well then to this day." Such is the salutation of the dawn.
Good for nothing, not to something off my rocker, getting by. Wonder for the God misgivings, falling harder, flying high. Climbing top to topple down, reset again and wonder why. No, we all will meet the end, nobody here gets out of life. Blazing fire, raging, fight inside the mire of my life. No extinguishing the flame that's giving shade to every light. Can't escape this fucking game, it's only me, myself and I. Myriad of names and voices. we'll see the way it goes before we leave it all behind.
So, recollecting this in the sense of being all here. In the sense that this is the only where there is. Integrated consciousness in which there is no further separation between the knower and the known, the subject and the object. You are what you know. Now we think, in the ordinary way, that we are the witnesses of a constantly changing panorama of experience.
Out of the loop, I'm not doing the best. Blowing the fusions to help me forget. Hidden and viewing the beat with the breath. Through with the joke and I'm back seeing red. Never done with the devil, myself I invoke. Never separate from God, so I'm watching it grow. I am the vessel that's filled with the ghost. I am the body, the son of the whole. Sunrise above, so I know I'm below. Pain in the love, let my blood overflow. Reach out the view with the message to spread. That between me and you, the most high in your head. Held at my heels, balance held in my chest. From the heart of the flame, we all came out of death. To go out in the world and return once again. Sinking down to the dirt, I emerge having done. Lost in the road, I'm impartial to lies. Keeping me comfortable, every form and disguise. I can't fake it and grade every day till I die. Can't hide all the hate that I feel being live. With the ways that we came all this way just to fade. With the shame when it finally comes to goodbye. Leave your baggage behind when you get to the gate. No one learned how to fly, clinging on to the weight. Ride for a fall, I'ma drive till it breaks. Coming home to the call when I pass in this place. Can't fake feeling great every day till I die. Can't hide all the hate that I feel being live. With the ways that we came all this way just to fade. With the shame when it finally comes to goodbye. With the ways that we came all this way just to fade. With the shame when it finally comes to goodbye.
From which we, as the knowers of this, in a way stand aside and watch it. We think of our minds as a kind of tablet upon which experience writes a record. And the tablet is always there, although the experience goes by. And eventually the experience, by writing so much on the tablet, wears it out. It's all scratched away, and you die, see? If you will investigate this, then you have to experiment on this, because I cannot explain it to you in words. You can only find it out for yourself. There is no difference between the knower and the known.
Coming back to life, rising from the shade, always sliding, never gain. Leave it all behind, like to make a break. Keep on dying, still afraid. Gave up trying, failed again. Can't rewind, feeling like this never ends. Hear me crying, lost my mind, hide away. Spacing out and losing time. Something out there always calling for the fear. I'm caught here rotting. Blossom at the bottom of the ocean, all forgotten. Watch me grovel, caught me crawling, always climbing up to topple. Wrestle with my options, wanting nothing they could offer. Something out here always calling for the fear. I'm caught here rotting. Blossom at the bottom of the ocean, long forgotten. Watch me grovel, caught me crawling, always climbing up to topple. Wrestle with my options, wanting nothing they could offer. Waking up, look around, heading back to ground. Already had enough, badly shaking, crazy look, alone and raving, filling up a book. Can't replace all the years, all gone away. Can't complain, I dissipate all the forms out in front of inside of your brain. Treat them as the same.
When you say, I see a sight, I feel a feeling, you are using redundant language. I see implies the sight. I feel implies the feeling. You hear sounds? No. You just hear. Or you can say there are sounds. Either one will do. So you will find, if you thoroughly investigate the process of experience, that the experiencing is the same as the experiencer. I put it originally in this form, that the organism and the environment are a single behavioral process. So, likewise, is the knower and the known. So you, as someone who is aware, and all that you are aware of is one process. And you get to that state by the practice of meditation, Every Buddha figure practically is seen in the sitting posture of meditation, which is sitting down quietly and being aware of all that goes on without comment, without thinking about it.
I am the salt in the body, the stone in the host, Mercury on mantle, the son of the whole. I'm slow for the soul and the note of the ghost, transmuting the death from my chest into gold. No, I'm never adult, find my faith in the flow. I'm a feature of alternate ways to the world, on the way to my bacon, to claim that we're born, act along in the play for renouncing the vote. Energy that never ends, a place where every shape is born, space outside the cold and clay. Nothing left when going out but to go back from where you came, evaporate into the cloud, drop of rain onto the waves, return again and cycle round. Pray for the morning to break, put an end to my night. Know the dogs of the psyche, even chase to the day. Learn that the base is implied by the height, found that our love is entwined with our rage. Playing for profit and thoughts left me empty. Do what you will, it all falls into place. When the world gets too heavy, I'm dropping the weight, pronouncing my name from the games to the maze. Every step that I take is the universe moving through me, proceeding since the bang. Lucid deranged, lunatic, blue fuse, holding on loose as the scenes are exchanged. Music arranged by the hidden recluse, seclusion, illusion, imbue with the flame. Every move that I make was the word through the mage, burning the fuel from the earth that I take.
And when you stop categorizing, verbalizing, talking to yourself inside your head, naturally the separation between, for example, knower and known, self and other, simply vanish. Can you point to the difference between my 5 fingers? Where will you put your finger if you want to point to the difference? You see, the idea of difference is an abstraction. It just isn't there in the physical world. Of course, that's not saying that the fingers are joined like a duck's claws with a web, but that it's just that. They're not the same. That's an idea. They're not different. That's an idea. And these ideas just aren't here. See? You can't point to it. You can't put your finger on it. Get then to the state of affairs where you see the world free from concepts. That's what Buddhists mean by void. And they say the world is basically empty, void. This has certainly also the meaning of transience, but basically it means you can't catch the world in a conceptual net. Just if you try to catch water in a net, it all slips through. If you try to tie up water in a paper package or grab it in your hands, it all flows through. So it doesn't really mean that the world itself, that the energy of the world is nothing at all. It means that no concept of it is valid. You cannot make any one idea or belief or doctrine or system or theory tie the thing up. If you go through this and you get completely blown out and released for no reason that anybody can explain, just as, for example, as I pointed out, when you see that you can't change yourself, you can't lift yourself up by your own bootstraps, you then get a new access of psychic energy. So in exactly the same way, there wells up from within you compassion, the sense that you aren't different from everybody else. Everybody else's suffering is your suffering. And so this tremendous sense of solidarity with all other beings arises. So that he who reaches nirvana doesn't, as it were, withdraw into a sort of isolated peace, but is always coming back into the world, into the difficulties, into the problems of life, in compassion for everyone else. You can't be saved alone, because you're not alone. You are the whole cosmos.